Good evening. Tonight I call to order the meeting of Mayor and Council on Tuesday, August 26, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd all rise for the invocation from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all things provided. We thank you for this little corner of earth that we call home. We ask that you guide our thoughts, that we may make wise decisions on behalf of the community. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. If you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Are there any changes to the agenda for this evening's meeting?
No, sir, there are not.
Okay. If there are no changes to the agenda, I'd like to request approval for the minutes of the regular meeting that was held on Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Those minutes have been provided to council in your packet. If there are no questions or comments on those minutes, I'll accept the motion at this time.
Councilman Hall,
Go ahead.
are you?
Okay, Councilwoman Grassett, I make that motion.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I'll second.
Second from Councilman Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, those minutes pass unanimously. All right. At this time, we're going to move over to public comment. Before we do so, I am anticipating some public comment revolving around public hearing number 2 relating to retail sales of marijuana. I want to preface what this meeting is going to be about and what the City Council is here to do. I think sometimes these things come up and there are hot button topics, and sometimes things get confused about what we're actually here to do as a city. So if you would allow for me to provide a little bit of backstory on this issue. On April 23rd, 2023, the state of Delaware legislature decriminalized marijuana. On July 17, 2024, the Delaware governor signed House Bill number 408 into law. This provided a conversion license for existing medical marijuana compassion centers to operate for recreational purposes. On August 2, 2024, the City of Seaford adopted initial zoning regulations. Those regulations provide a path to permit a maximum of 2 adult use retail marijuana locations in the city if the drug was rescheduled at the federal level. The current zoning changes before the City Council this evening would remove the rescheduling requirements from the zoning ordinance and would permit retail sales in the city subject to certain requirements. The reason why I want to get ahead of this and put that out there is this has been ruled on by the state of Delaware. This legislation has gone through at a state level. This is not something the City of Seaford is talking about when it comes from a legislative standpoint. Our job is to go over our code and make adjustments via our code to what's been put down at a state level. So I encourage all public comment. Feel free to speak on the matter if you want to speak on it, however you want to speak on it. But just know, the City of Seaford, we're here to talk about code changes, not legislation of marijuana. At this time, is there anybody here for public comment? I'll accept anybody for public comment. Do we have anybody?
We have Frank Parks for
Frank?
public comment.
Frank, if you wouldn't mind coming to the front, if you could state your name clearly and your address as well, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Frank Parks. Own a real estate company here in Seaford, and I'm also director of the Fishermen Foundation. It's a nonprofit recovery ministry that works with people, to help them with overcome addiction. Anything else you need to know before I
No, sir.
make
If
their
you
comment?
Proceed at your will.
Well, I'll tell you
Okay.
your social security number.
No, I know that this has been something that's being pushed nationwide, and it's, finally here at our doorstep, and it needs to be addressed. But there were some lies that were told about the use of marijuana and the benefits that it would bring to, the citizens of this country and ultimately citizens of Seaford. And some of the, I have some statistics that, I hope you guys will consider and, research this for yourself, because, Colorado has legalized this and is, has open air drug markets and urban decay and all those things that are happening from legalizing, marijuana and making it readily available, on at every avenue. And, one of the things that I found most interesting was there was a 5 times higher psychosis hospitalization visits. 5 times since the legalization of marijuana in Colorado, the psychosis visits to hospitals increased 5 times. Cannabis-induced psychosis tripled. So they could relate that specifically to cannabis, all right? Traffic, more DUIs for marijuana than alcohol now in this country. Did everybody know that? There are more DUIs for marijuana than there are for alcohol now in this country. There was a 151% increase in marijuana-related traffic fatalities. The potency now is off the charts. It's 90% THC now. The stuff that some of us smoked back when we were kids. And I'm guilty. I was a daily pot smoker, and I know what it did to my life. And that's why I'm so passionate against this being available in our community, in our country. And there's some other statistics that are I found very interesting. Average IQ drops 8% for somebody using marijuana on a daily basis. They're 60% more likely to miss work, 75% more likely to show poor job performance when somebody's using marijuana regularly. It does not help a person. It does not help our city. It does not help our country. And, it's just one of the many lies that are being told by the marijuana industry and by even our own state government that is approving this, and kind of shoving it down your throats. And I realize that your hands are tied to some extent with what this state is doing. There may be repercussions if you vote against this thing. But I ask you, as a long-time resident of this town, to fight against it any way you can. And if we can be a model against it, maybe other municipalities and other parts of the country will follow suit. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Mr. Parks.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here for public comment?
No, there's no one else here for public
We have
comment.
a young lady. Hang on one second. I had a young lady with her hand raised first. Do you have public comment, ma'am? Yes. Okay. If you wouldn't mind coming forward, stating your name and your address, please.
Absolutely. So, 26945 Danny Drive in Seaford.
Okay.
My name is Emily Wilkins. I am fifth generation Delawarean. Seafordian, I guess would be the way to say that. I'm also the cannabis specialist expert for Deltec. I'm the only educator in the state for cannabis. I am also the person that has run the state's largest manufacturing facility for cannabis in the state of Delaware for the last 5 years. The company has been open for 10 years. Some of the statistics that were just spoken about, there's no scientific backing for any of that. There is stuff on the internet that says cannabis is bad. There is stuff that says cannabis is good. However, the science says that it is a non-addictive property. There is nothing addictive when it comes to cannabis, physically addictive. This is a highly regulated process. So some of the statistics about hospitalization that were just given, we don't know where that cannabis is coming from. Is it coming from the street? Are they adding extra things to it? Is there other things that could be added to those processes? But again, I'm not here to speak about cannabis as a whole. I'm here to speak about Seaford and Seaford's code. Seaford, I was one of the primary advocates for HB 408, which you brought up earlier. That is the conversion license bill. That bill says that every single commissioner's granted conversion license should be getting should be open for recreational use. The Seaford regulations do not follow the state laws at this point, and I just wanted to come here and offer to anyone here at the table, if you would like to come see a dispensary, if you would like to come see how these processes work, if you've been into a liquor store, you are not thinking the same thing as a dispensary. There are license scanners, there are verification steps, there's certifications like a bartender get for our dispensary agents to be able to make sure that the people are of age in these facilities. These are not single use, these are not, you're just walking in the front door. There's more security and regulations in this field than in nuclear physics, or the only other two higher regulated fields are nuclear physics and opioids. Everything below that, if we're talking, alcohol, it's a lot less regulated than what we currently are doing. So this is safe, consumable product, not the things that I smoked in Seaford, Delaware, back in the 90s and early 2000s. So yes, it is more potent, but it's also cleaner. It's also safer because you don't have fentanyl in it. You don't have other products that we're not sure of what's actually in the product. So there is a big difference between street cannabis and dispensary cannabis, and I want to make sure you guys know that. And I also want to offer to allow you guys to come to any of our dispensaries, either in Lewis, we have a manufacturing facility in Milford, to come understand how this process works, just so that you can make informed decisions for your people, for our people here in Seaford. That's all I had.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkins.
Thank you.
Sir, did you still have public comment? Would you like to come forward, please? Yep. If you wouldn't mind stating your name and address for the record, please.
Paul Durrell, 606 Bridgeville Highway, Seaford, Delaware. And I was born and raised in this town. Lived here pretty much all my life. I'm a medical card holder. I have a medical marijuana card, and I deal with the guys at Fresh on a weekly basis. They're all very professional. And I just see stopping them from opening to the public as an inconvenience to the people that live in Seaford, because there's plenty of people here that smoke marijuana. For one thing, in the state of Delaware, if you're 65 or older, you automatically qualify for a card. But a lot of people don't want the stigma of having a card. If you wanted to buy marijuana without going to Fresh, you could probably get it at 3 places along the highway that deal in what they call a THCA strain, which is not a whole lot different than what they sell at Fresh. I could get on a bus and go to Georgetown to Best Buds and buy whatever I wanted, or Lewis, or Rehoboth. I just see it as an inconvenience to the people here in Seaford that smoke. That's pretty much all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Drew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else remaining for public comment? Okay. I'm going to move on to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. At this time, I believe we are going to begin public hearing number 1, and our code inspector, Mike Bailey.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Council.
Thank you, Mr.
Good
Drew.
evening.
For tonight's first public hearing is for Coastal Property Ventures LLC. They've applied on behalf of Tidal Health Nanticoke Incorporated. They're property owner of 100 Rawlins Drive, tax map and parcel 331-5.00-13.01. They're requesting a preliminary site plan review for proposed child care center. This is the area out there across from the Mears campus on Rawlins Drive. I've got it marked there with a blue star. Currently, it's vacant land. They've actually started clearing the vegetation off of it in preparation for this project. So they're proposing to construct a new 12,000 square foot building for a KinderCare on the Mears campus. On this slide, it is the building in the middle at the very top. The rest of that there at the top side is a placeholder for another medical office, which is not part of this plan, but it is shown there as a placeholder on the site. For the KinderCare, parking is required of 20 spaces. They're going to provide 40 spaces, with 2 of those being ADA for this project. The rest of the parking will come on later when they develop the rest of that project. They did receive a variance for the child care use from the Board of Adjustments in May of this year, with a slight modification this month. Just because this property is zoned R4 and child care is not a use by right, even by special exception there. So they got a variance for that use there, went through no problem. Beyond that, they will require approvals from the State Fire Marshal and Sussex Conservation for the site. And I believe that's all I have at this time. The applicant was unable to attend tonight, so if there's any questions, I can do my best to try to answer them. This is another slide showing more zoomed in of the site there. The building on the right is the KinderCare project, and they do show a stormwater pond to the right of that, and the parking out front and to the side.
Okay. Excuse me, are there any questions or comments from council for Mr. Bailey?
I just have a comment. I want to give kudos to the hospital for wanting to do this for their employees. I understand this is going to be an employee KinderCare for their employees' children, and as hard as it is to find good childcare around here, I just want to give them kudos for thinking and wanting to invest in this for their employees.
As a father of 7 kids, I can agree.
Yeah, there you go.
Childcare is hard to find. Here, here. Are there any additional questions or comments from council? Are there any questions or comments from the public on this matter? Okay, we'll move on to public hearing number 2.
All right, so for the second public hearing, this is the amendment to Chapter 15 of the Municipal Code by amending subsection 15.22.2C, 15.22.3H, and 15.52.3C that would permit retail adult use marijuana sales in the city of Seaford. And specifically, the changes that we're looking at in 15.22.2A would be just the deletion of that section of the federal classification for that. 15.22.3, it's deleting the use by special exception. That would create this as a use by right in that zone. And in Article 52, Section 15.52.5, is modification to the hours of operation, and that will make it 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and open it up for 12 noon to 8 p.m. on Sundays.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the council on public hearing number 2? Okay, are there any questions or comments from the public on public hearing number 2? Okay. At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So back to public hearing number 1. These are the findings of facts. The project is a Tidal Health KinderCare building. Owner is Tidal Health Nanticoke Incorporated. Property is located on Rawlins Drive. That is tax map and parcel 331-5.00-13.01. The zoning is R4 institutional residential. They're proposing to construct a new 12,000 square foot building for a KinderCare. Requires, this is for the entire site, but it was, excuse me, it's 82 parking spaces total. They're providing 120 ADA, that's for the whole site. They're going to do less than that just for the KinderCare. They're doing 40 for that. They received a variance for the child care use in May from the Board of Adjustment. It will require approvals from the State Fire Marshal, Sussex Conservation, and Planning and Zoning did make a recommendation for approval at their August 7th meeting.
Okay. At this time, I'll accept the motion.
Councilwoman Grassett, I make a motion to approve the request of Coastal Property Ventures, LLC, on behalf of Tidal Health Nanticoke Incorporated, property owner of 100 Rollins Drive, tax map and parcel number 331-5.00-13.01 for a preliminary site plan approval for a proposed child care center as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett. Is there a second on the motion?
Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
We have a second from Councilman Orlando Holland. Are there any questions on the motion? If there are no questions, I'll begin a roll call vote with Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
Based on the findings and facts, I vote yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett.
Yes, based on findings of facts.
Councilman Orlando Holland.
Yes, based on findings of facts.
Councilman Mike Bradley.
Yes, based on findings of facts.
And Councilman Alan Quillen.
Yes, based on findings of facts.
Okay. And on to the next one.
So this is for public hearing, item number 2, findings of facts. This is the amendment to Chapter 15. The first part is amending 1522.2, uses by right, to remove the federal reclassification language, deleting Section 1522.3H, the special exception requirement, and amending 1552.5C to change operating hours from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday to 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and adding the hours of 12 noon to 8 p.m. on Sundays.
Okay, at this time, I'll set the motion.
Again, Councilwoman Grassett, I make a motion to approve the second reading of an amendment to Chapter 15 of the Municipal Code by revising Sections 15.22.2C, Section 15.22.3H, and Section 15.52.3C that would permit retail adult-use marijuana sales in the city of Seaford as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett. Is there a second?
Councilman Henderson, I second.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. Are there any questions on the motion? If there are no questions, I'll set the roll call vote, beginning with Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
Based on my belief that this is a net benefit to the city, the residents of the city of Seaford, I vote yes.
Okay, Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett.
I also vote yes.
Councilman Orlando Holland.
Based on the findings of facts, I vote yes.
Councilman Mike Bradley.
Well, I'm going to be the lone wolf here. I'm opposed, and here are my reasons why. This is a lesser of two evils, and I personally don't like being backed into a corner as we are now. We're being forced into this decision without any deliberation on our part. Frank Parks was an employee of mine for 2.5 years, and during that time he was going through rehab, and I have hired several individuals that have gone through the same. So my thought is I don't believe that people should have easy exposure to something they've been addicted to. Many of you live in well, no, I'm not going to say that because I got surprised this evening. Everybody that spoke were residents of the community, so I commend you for saying something about that. My big thing is, right now, as a city, we have made tremendous strides to change how we are. We have hit bottom, we are on our way back, and I feel like sometimes every time we make 3 steps forward, we end up going 2 steps back, and it frustrates me as a council person. And when everybody's home in bed at night, guess what? The police is going to have extra activity, and they're going to have to mop up the mess. And that is my reasoning behind this. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. And Councilman Alan Quillen.
I just have a few comments before I do make my vote. I am not in full support of recreational marijuana. But in saying that, I think that we need guidelines that be put in place for our community. And I think the guidelines that we are putting in place by allowing only 2 locations and allowing the locations to be in certain areas of the city we were able to maintain control of what's being sold in the community. If we go down a different avenue, I think Milford's in a situation right now to where they're into a lawsuit. We have one facility here that was given the conversion license. So if we go down the avenue, if we don't allow this to happen, we could find ourselves into a lawsuit real quickly. And that's what Milford's into right now. So that being said, I don't think it's in best interest of the city to go down that avenue. So, and my vote is going to be yes. But I am not in full support of recreational marijuana. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Quillen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike Bradley. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to move on to new business number 1. And I believe Mr. Charles Kessler's in the house. Is he hiding from me? Where's he at? There he is. You may know him as the Executive Director of the HELP Initiative. I know him as one of my battle buddies from the first ever Civilians Police Academy.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so good evening, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
And
Good
council
evening.
members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So Charles Kissler, Executive Director of the HELP Initiative. Always happy to be here in this city. All right, you're going to hear from 2 of our staff members around survey findings specific to Violent Crime Reduction Initiative. Just a little background, the Criminal Justice Council funded us to do this, but the real brainchild behind us is Chief Kraft here. Right, and so what we did is we took the chief's playbook and we repurposed it and were able to get awarded funds to go and do this violent crime reduction initiative in both Laurel and here in Seaford. And really the focus was around geographically concentrated focus areas, we call them. Really they're apartment complexes. Toughest of the 3 that we have. The second one is around organized or unified type properties like HOAs and civic associations, basically manufactured home parks. And the third one is open streets, which is the toughest to get any kind of cohesion. This wraps up our period of performance, was January through the end of September. So we're tailing this out now. This briefing is really going to conclude the findings we did, but it requires us to go out, work with property managers. The properties here were Chandler Heights and Meadowbridge. In Seaford, it was Little Creek and Hollybrook. And it was interesting as to how the findings between the 2 locations really sort of supported themselves in terms of messaging back to the town or the city. So intervention and reduction counseling, those are the 2 component parts of this initiative that we're in. Intervention, we do well. Getting into the communities, working with property managers, doing the door hangers, knocking on the doors, intake and enrollment, providing the services free of charge, and then going and installing those measures, and then coming back and reporting on everything. The counseling, the reduction counseling is you. We can come here and give you these briefings, but it's really important for you to then take the intelligence gathering side of this and get proactive about what we're hearing from the residents in these focused areas and the problems they're having. They're telling us through these surveys. And then being able to use that in the context of a public, like the Police Accountability Board, the Citizens Police Academy, the CERT program. There are groups of people out there that really have a vested interest in cities and towns, and it's indicative of participation in citizens' emergency response teams. All those need to be brought together and counsel the kind of information that we're finding at street level, and then get proactive about what kind of things you can put in place to provide any kind of prevention going forward. Eliminate violence. All right, so I'm going to introduce Mallory and Tyrell. Mallory is a program manager for the public safety side of what we do, and Tyrell is the GIS crime analyst kind of guy. I mean, he's a crazy, deep thinking kind of guy. I will say one thing about marijuana. What we're finding, and what's really a serious concern, because we're dealing in home safety programs, right? said you have how many kids?
7.
We're going to deputize at least one.
No, thank you. You can fight over it.
So part of what we do in the community engagement side is we try to take children and have them take ownership of the home safety within their own home and teach them things like that. So what we're finding is unattended gummy bears, for instance, bad, right? So you talk about doing stuff with firearms and the safety of firearms in the home. You need to look at these kind of things as well because they're seriously dangerous. Seriously dangerous. All right. Mallory.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Mallory Vinette. Tonight I have the pleasure to introduce you to our survey finding. Oh, just, okay. He'll do it. Okay, here we are. So it's going to be an overview of what we did in Chandler Heights and Meadowbridge. I'm going to talk about Chandler Heights, which in our recent weeks, actually we visited Chandler Heights a couple months ago. We engaged with residents from 2 Seaford communities, and more than 40 neighbors participated in sharing their perspectives in neighborhood safety, their primary concerns, and what they like to see change in their community. We had 23 participants in Chandler Heights. We asked questions in this survey that you can see here. We asked them how safe they feel in their neighborhood. And the residents pointed to drugs, gangs, and guns as major concerns, which is mostly violent crime. And also other worries about family environments that normalize risky behavior and a lack of community programs. You can see that when they gather and they come to you, and actually you get to go to their homes, so you get to see the way they live. Sorry. Many residents claim they don't always feel comfortable reporting crimes or trusting that issues will be addressed within police departments. Their requests came true loud and clear. They just want better communication, more visibility, and more regular engagement with residents, not only just to come and hear their concerns, but also just to recreate themselves within their own community. Environment and opportunities, they are asking for more positive programs for kids and teens. They want to make sure they have their mind occupied in what's gonna go next in their life instead of just going to what they can see in their community. They also want youth outreach, after-school activities, mentorships, and safe spaces where they can feel like a community. Residents also mentioned the value of community events in neighborhood, like I just mentioned, not just for concerns and see what they can change, but also just to recreate themselves. And most residents said they rely on Facebook and local news for information about crime. So we've seen what Seaford PD is doing in their Facebook page. They're only posting things. Mayor, I see you. I really see you out there. You are posting every now and then, always about things that are happening in your community. So that's what they really want to see. And you are also doing it. So I want to thank you for that. So that tells us that social media and news outlets are critical tools for reaching the community. But that there also should be an improvement on the effectiveness of community meetings. We're also making the community more aware of those meetings. So if police want to gather with the community, they just want to make sure that they're aware of this community events like city manager is doing out there every Friday, not every Friday, but you are making some things out there. So we want to thank you for that. Now I'm going to leave you with Tyrell so he can give you the overview of Meadowbridge, which was an interested community and what they say, and then the bottom line of the survey findings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Terrell Barnes. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Terrell Barnes. I'm going to be presenting the findings from Meadowbridge as well as the conclusion from the community survey findings story map. So Similar to Chandler Heights, we did just around the same number of people, around 22 residents participated in the campaign. They reported their safety concerns. As you can see, a majority of them report that they are very safe, while also telling us that, you know, the major concerns from the area are going to be drugs, gang activity, guns, violence, etc. Let me see. And then it was sort of a mix. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that my job is to pretty much clean up a lot of these responses and summarize them into the core components of what these people were telling us. And as you can see, a good portion of the residents returned that there weren't really any changes that they necessarily felt would make them feel safer, but a good portion of them did report that they did not feel safe. But an increased amount of security was a very close second to that response. And by that, I do want to explain that it wasn't necessarily neighborhood security, it was more so just an increased visibility of the police in the area, so mainly just, you know, routine inspections and things like that, mostly talking to people in the community. Let's see, it's not scrolling. Okay. Now for police visibility and trust, we asked them what would improve the trust between the police and the community, and you know, a lot of people did say there wasn't really much that could be done, but that they also didn't really feel that the trust was there with the police department and their community. And as I said before, increased visibility, just making sure that there are routine roundabouts done by the police and their community would make them feel a little bit safer. Environment and opportunities, this is mainly pertaining to the rundown houses in the neighborhood. I'm not particularly sure how many abandoned homes are, you know, around Meadowbridge and Seaford, but apparently enough that it does make a difference, since a lot of them do feel like it affects the safety in the neighborhood. And then we asked them what the city could do as far as making any changes to, there we go, making any changes to their community. And they did say that abandoned home remediation would be a quick fix to making them feel a little bit safer, feeling like things are being done as far as their responses to a lot of these surveys, as well as improved lighting. City representatives and outreach, this is pretty much just outlining what they would like to see from the council members, city representatives, police departments. We asked them if the police came out maybe once a month to just talk to people, see what's going on in the community, would that make a difference? They said yes. And what's one thing police or the city could do to show they care more about your neighborhood? Like I said, increased engagement, improved communication, so not just talking to people, but letting them know that how you talk to them also matters as well. For the bottom line, Seaford residents are asking for three things: stronger police community connections through visibility and communication, cleaner, safer environments, and more opportunities for kids and families. So basically just, you know, small programs, really just showing up and showing yourselves, making sure there's something for kids to do when they do come out. You know, that really does make a big difference. Even something as small as, I think we had, what was it, Horseshoe, that game we had the kids playing Laurel? Yeah, the toss with the beanbag. It was
Cornhole.
Exactly. It was small, but it was something. And then for this portion, we just asked them what additional program services or community services would you like to see implemented. We just included some direct quotes. And as you can see, a lot of the community is very straightforward in what they returned there. And it was mostly just programs for children, even some Big Brother programs as well, to be specific. Teen programs, neighborhood watch, some drug intervention, you know, measures and programs were also mentioned. But yeah. That concludes our presentation, and I will yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really, really appreciate your findings. It's always good to hear from our community, and, you know, and specifics like this is helpful. I do appreciate Chief Kraft for positioning this platform to give us the information. It's very insightful. We really appreciate it. Mr. Kistler, do you want to come forward once again? And yeah. I believe you may have something you'd like to present. This is your cue, sir. This is wink, wink, Charlie. All right, we didn't practice this beforehand. If you would take it away, because I think we have an honor and a recognition to you.
Yeah, I mean, from me to you, but from our entire staff and this city, which you live in. Being a U.S. citizen is one of the greatest things that can happen, and we take it for granted a lot of times. When you came up last week or the week before and you hugged me, I mean, it was an unbelievable moment because I could sense how happy you were. So we took the liberty of putting this together so that you could have it and remember it in this particular day, because I think this is a really important day for you. So, coupled with violent crime reduction initiatives, having this flag as a newly minted U.S. citizen is an amazing honor.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Would you mind if we got a picture of you with Mayor and Council? Would that be okay? Yes. Come on, Council, come on. Photo op time. There we go.
Y'all ready?
That's right, that's right.
There you go.
Take turns.
Congratulations again. Thank you so
All
much
right,
for
thank
sharing
you.
that with us.
Thank you very
She's like, now I know when my family came to watch me do a presentation.
All right, at this time, we're going to move on to new business number 2. And I believe it's our police chief, Marshall Kraft. He's still in the house? There he is.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Evening, chief.
Manager. That's a very hard act to follow.
That's awesome, isn't it?
We've been
That's
working
awesome.
together for a long time, and congratulations once again to you. Huge. Today, late this afternoon, Chief Willie provided me with his letter of recommendation, which is fairly in line with the one that I presented to Mayor and Council. So as you're aware, the last time we were here at Mayor and Council, you approved us to create a Regional Police Chiefs Accountability Advisory Board to incorporate the city or town of Blades, and authorizing 2 members to be appointed by the mayor. I received those members as a recommendation from Chief Willie, and that's Jerry Dorsey and Robert Bob Frankavage, I believe is the correct pronunciation. I think pretty much everybody here knows Jerry. And Chief Willie speaks very highly of both of those folks. Jerry is a retired veterinarian technologist manager whose community involvement included serving as a vice president for the senior center, contributing as an artist right here downtown Seaford, a mediation leader, volunteering at senior center library, and also participating in the Blades Police Outreach Committee, I think, for the past 2 years. Robert is also retired. He actively serves in his HOA there at Little Meadows and Blades. He's on their architectural committee. He's on the Blades Planning and Zoning Committee, and he also has served for about the past 2 years for their Police Outreach Committee. I should say that both of those individuals are currently signed up to start at our Citizens Police Academy tomorrow. As you're aware, there's a requirement by post for 20 hours of law enforcement related training, ride-alongs and things of that nature. They'll get most of that training right at our Citizens Police Academy. Chief Willie has confirmed that both individuals successfully passed their background checks and comes with his full endorsement, which I have included in this envelope here. And their qualifications, commitment, and willingness to learn, and I think will make them excellent candidates for this role. And I'm happy to have them aboard as long as they're appointed tonight.
Amen to that. All right, are there any questions for Chief Kraft on new business number 2? If we have no questions at this point, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Henderson, I make a motion to recommend the 2 appointments to the Police Chiefs Advisory Board representing the town of Blades, Delaware, as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I'll second that.
We have a second from Councilman Alan Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. Outstanding. And Chief, don't go anywhere. We got new business number 3 coming up right now, don't we?
Let me get mine.
Yeah.
See what that is?
Multitasking.
So Chief certainly can answer any questions, but in council's package, we have a bid recommendation. We did open bids recently for the women's locker room expansion. We're also going to create a lactation room as part of this project. The city received 4 bids in response to our bid solicitation. The low bidder was East Coast Contracting in the amount of $76,789.09. Just a couple things. We have not worked with this contractor, so we did request that they submit a list of references. Did check their references. They recently, specifically, the big one that they did recently was they completed an IT room at the police department in Ocean City, Maryland. Very complex project, and they did an excellent job. Also, we checked their list of subcontractors. We know several of the subcontractors, have worked with them. So we do feel confident in awarding the bid to them. This project was included in the FY26 budget. In the chief's budget, it was budgeted at $70,000. Did come in a little bit higher, so we are requesting the council consider a budget overrun of $6,789.09. I don't know, Chief, if you want to add anything else to the recommendation.
No, I agree with Charles. When they came out, they provided a list of their contractors. Several of them have worked at our PD already. I'm very familiar. I think the masonry company, the electric company, and I think the painters are one of the other contractors. So I've not heard of them either, but I know generally most of those contractors. This is important because state law requires a lactation room, and we are at max capacity with the ladies in our department. And we have several others in the pipeline for the next academy class.
Amen.
So,
Amen to that. Okay. If, please, Councilman.
We're already based out of
Ocean City, Maryland.
Ocean City, okay.
Yes, sir.
I thought you said you don't work Ocean City.
No.
Okay. Do we have any additional questions or comments from council?
One question.
Vice Mayor.
Pardon me. Which fund will the $6,789.09 come from?
So when we put the budget together, we identified funding from GMB rent reserves to budget or fund, I apologize, this project in the budget. It would be our recommendation after discussions with the Director of Finance to utilize that same fund for these additional funds that are necessary.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions or comments from council? If there are no additional questions or comments, at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Henderson, I make a motion to award the bid for renovations to the women's locker room at the police department to East Coast Contracting in the amount of $76,789.09, a $6,789.09 budget overrun as presented.
All right, we have a motion from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
We have a second from Councilman Orlando Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Chief, just want to give you a quick kudos. Thank you for leading all this. There's a lot going on here. Seaford Community Campaign, the advisory board. And I know you've been at the forefront of getting these advancements for the police department, including the women's locker room and lactation. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for your support.
Yes, sir. All right, move on to old business number 1.
Our Director of Public Works, Mr. Mears.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So, sorry I couldn't make it to the last meeting, the first reading, but Brian Tiff was here to explain the proposed change. In a nutshell, I'll just say that basically what we're trying to do is kind of reduce the regulation burden on some of the businesses in town that we don't feel need to do the extensive required sampling and monitoring. So it would help them. It helps us too. It's not just them, but it helps us as well. If we can monitor them less, being that they discharge, 100 gallons a day, or if that. So it's not like they're discharging 20, 30, 40,000 gallons a day. So, so that's it in a nutshell. If you have any questions.
Do we have any questions or comments for our Director Burley Mears? Okay. If there are no additional questions or comments, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Quillen, I'd like to make a motion to approve the changes to section 11.6.4A33 and section 11.6.23 or 28B of municipal code that would expand the definition of significant industrial user, SIU, to include language allowing certain SIUs to be classified as non-significant industrial users as presented.
All right, we have a motion from Councilman Alan Quillen. Is there a second?
Councilman Bradley, I second the motion.
We have a second from Councilman Mike Bradley. At this time, I'm going to proceed with a roll call vote. We'll begin with Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
Anytime we can reduce the burden of regulation and improve the efficiency of operations, that's a good thing. So I vote yes.
Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett.
I also vote yes.
Councilman Orlando Holland.
I vote yes, based on the facts that were provided tonight and in the meeting before.
Councilman Mike Bradley.
I vote yes.
And Councilman Alan Quillen.
I vote yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. All right, and we've arrived at the reminder of meetings.
Just a couple, Mayor. Friday Night Live is September 5th, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., located behind City Hall on the grass lot. Just a reminder, city offices are closed Monday, September 1st, 2025, in observance of the Labor Day holiday. And I neglected to put it on the agenda, but the Vice Mayor reminded me. We do have a SCAT meeting on September 3rd in Lewis.
Yes, sir.
If you have not signed up, please see the municipal clerk, Beth Stewart. She'll get you signed up. That's all I have, sir.
Always a good time. All right, moving over to Code, Parks and Recreation, and Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett.
I'll start with the Code Department. We are up to 280 permits that have been issued so far this year. Rental licenses are up to 1,844. The Code Department has been completing rental inspections and other routine inspections throughout the city, as well as violation inspections. Large project, just to update you on some of those. The main one that has changed is that in Bel Air Single Family, the 2 final homes are nearly completed now. The Western Sussex Business Campus is still waiting for final inspection and working on their first lease for storage space. The shopping center, the old Nylon Capital Shopping Center, fit out for the mill is continuing. The Deltec fit out permit has been issued and work has started. And site work on water and sewer across the whole site is nearly complete. Mod Wash, the old car wash that is out by Chick-fil-A, has been demolished. The site has been graded. The footer for the new building has been poured, and that will be a Mod Wash. And then in Governor's Grant Phase 4, the site has been cleared and stormwater installation is underway. And that is it for the code department. In Parks and Rec, they are continuing to cut a lot of grass, and also really engage talked about engaging youth, engaging a lot of youth in programs that we have going on. We have hundreds of children who are going to be participating across the city in the flag football and the soccer programs that are coming up in the fall. And they have been working on getting that data uploaded, ordering new uniform kits, creating schedules. They have also, we held a Parks and Rec committee meeting last week, and many of the folks at Parks and Rec were able to attend that, as well as our community representatives, and they hosted a third movie night in the park on 8/25. I just want to conclude by saying that I am looking forward to starting tomorrow night as a participant in the Seaford Police Citizens Police Academy. I will be occupied for the next, 7 Wednesday evenings.
A lot of fun.
But I am looking forward to it and start tomorrow night. And that
Amen.
is it for my report.
It's a lot of fun, learn a lot. I will say this before we segue to police and fire. If you haven't been out to the former Nylon Shopping Center recently, check it out. There's a lot of progress going on out there, a lot of buildings going on. It's very exciting. And I will state about the Parks and Recreation Department. Had our first practice this evening, 5 p.m. Fields were filled already. Practices are going on. Katie, Teen, and their whole team do a great job. But watch out for those Houston Dynamo. This is our year. All right, to police and fire and Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 complete reports from Chief Wilson and Chief Kraft. Start with Chief Wilson's report. The total number of calls for 2025 on department responses is 3,810 calls, or an average of 16 per day. The fire calls are 12% above last year's rate for fire responses. Under significant events, there were 3 significant events in the city, and 1 assist in Blades and 1 assist in Bridgeville. The in-city response was for a 2-vehicle fire on Aqua Lane. Again, on Aqua Lane, there was an apartment fire with cooking, which was suppressed by a fire sprinkler, which I will take this time to stress the importance of fire sprinklers, that the city does have an incentive program for residential limited fire sprinklers for new and retrofit construction. So I'd urge any interested parties that there is money out there for incentives to install these limited suppression systems. Under apparatus status, the engine 87.5 is out of service for paint corrosion problem. The last training was on Wednesday, August 20th at 1900 hours for high-rise hose operations at the residence at Riverfront, River Place. Blades Station 71 also attended. There were 25 members that attended that training. Next training is September 3rd at 1900 hours. That's for grip, hoist, and tiebacks. That's an extrication maneuver for vehicle accidents. You'll see a chart with a list of training hours that occurred and the number of hours, the number of individuals, and the totals of all the people that attended. Under EMS, All 3 ambulances are in service. A87 had minor repairs to the interior trim pieces in the patient care compartment. We have firefighter EMT Brooks Morris has moved to phase 3 of 4 for his field training, and he's doing well. Firefighter EMT Robert Helsel completed Fire Officer 4. And firefighter EMT Elena Straits attended the Fire Department Technical Training Network in Indiana, taking the fire ground class. And the chief stressed that this is very valuable but expensive training, but it is an extensive piece of work, and I'd like to congratulate Elena for her commitment to go out there and participate in that class. Under news and events, there were 96 events with a total of 973 people attending or participating in those events for a total of 1,920 hours. That's to date, year to date. There will be an award, I want to hold off on that, but there will be an award by the fire department to the Seaford officers involved on a, I don't have the date, but it was earlier this summer for a fire. Their response, the police department officers did a response during an alarm. So there will be an award at the next meeting. Volunteer Fire Department is preparing for fire prevention coming up in October. And the Delaware State Conference is scheduled for September 22nd to 26th in Dewey Beach. And all Seaford Volunteer Fire Department officers will be in attendance. The Seaford Police Department, the reports presented by Chief Kraft. You'll see the familiar columns with the far left column, 2025 year-to-date totals. You'll see a lot of these totals, if we're fortunate and God is with us, will be lower than the period before. Mm-hmm. They are trending lower with a very few aberrations. Under all crimes, there were 154, and you'll see the distribution between felony, misdemeanor, violations, civil, and other. For an 88% clearance rate, which is well above the last period. Under additional crime data below, there were 15 complaints, including assault, fraud, larceny, motor vehicle theft, and robbery, for a 40% clearance rate. Let me go back up. Under the chart for incidents, there is there's a section there for burglary. There were 20 burglaries and 21 thefts from vehicles, but that does not include stolen vehicles. So that don't be confused. There has been an increase in stolen vehicles, mostly of the Hyundai and Kia variety. You'll see in the later in the significant events that there was one Mazda that was stolen during the period, but the others were either Kias or Hyundais. Moving back up, there were 4 drug crimes, 3 adult arrests, and 1 pending inactive. There was 1 overdose that the police department made contact with during this period. 207 traffic contacts with 184 citations, which is a pretty big ratio, and 30 warnings. 3 DUIs, all alcohol-related, 23 crashes, 3 injury accidents, all on public streets, 6 non-reportable and 14 reportable. There were 7 hit and runs during the period, all on private property. And I'll leave you with the significant events. There are several here. By no means were these all of the events, but those are a list of the significant events. I will point out on August 18th that FedEx reported and intercepted a marijuana shipment. It was 10.665 pounds of marijuana and THC vapes, contraband that was not supposed to be shipped. And under administration, you'll see that they were very busy with meetings and other activities during that period. I would like to thank the city manager and the chief for taking their time to meet with several concerned citizens on the 20th. And it appears that there is a resolution at hand, working with the property owners to reduce some of the nuisance that's happening in that area. So I'd like to thank them for taking their time out in the evening and working with my schedule so that I could come and participate with those concerned citizens. Under community events, we have the ongoing Food On program with the Help Initiative that continues with the police department officers, and lots of stuff going on the 16th, the American Legion Youth Fishing Tournament and the Ice Cream Social. Corporal Wilson attended that. The Shipley Street Lemonade Stand, which was probably attended by more officers than listed, but Corporal Palm, Corporal Maheta, Patrolman Cruz, and Patrolman Kane. I think you might have seen their picture on Facebook participating in some refreshments there. There was the Downtown Association event, which I'm sorry to have missed. However, Chief and Lieutenant Hornet did attend that along with our CALEA representative. So that was a good thing. There was the Jay's Nest backpack giveaway. SRO Wingate, Patrolman Cruz attended. And then the chief attended multiple church services, including Mount Olivet, Macedonia AME, the Church of God on Clarence Street, and the Miracle Revival Church, and also a community event at Grace Church. The chief was really busy on August 24th running around town to all these events, or all these services. Tomorrow evening is the start of the Citizens Police Academy. Urge all of you to come out and witness the start. We have one participant, so good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope to make my police officer son proud.
Under training and other, the Spear Team training is ongoing twice a month. The NASRO course is being attended by was attended by Corporal Maheta, and the sergeant and lieutenant testing oral boards were last week, and those results are being evaluated. So with that, that'll conclude the report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to move over to administration and Councilman Orlando Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. They met with DMEC regarding NREC on the frequency load shedding compliance. for Pine Street Substation, and also attended a DMEC Finance Committee meeting. And they held a housing summit in Newark, Delaware, and attended Downtown Seaford Association, DSA, annual dinner meeting, along with council members and mayor. And new AEDs have been received and distributed, and attended quarterly Hooper's Landing meeting with Atkins Management, and various other meetings and events, and all the work was routine, Mr. Mayor. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Holland. Going to move over to electric and Councilman Mike Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to bring up something that I found out on Thursday. I doubt very seriously the council's aware of this, but Charles is. I found out there are 500 homeless in Georgetown, which I thought was very surprising. Secondly, I owe Mike Bailey a big thank you. I had a code issue last week, and I contacted him, and he was on it like lightning. And I just wanted to have that on record.
Electric, lightning. I see what you did
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I see what you did there.
Very shocking.
Yeah.
So, being proactive, the electric department has trimmed trees on State, Washington Avenue, Hall, Walmart, Advanced Auto, behind Comfort Suites and Days Inn. They also did an Osprey deterrent across from the hospital on the pole. I knew it wasn't the one that was at the firehouse because it has orange earplugs. Car hit a transformer in Chandler Heights, and power was restored, and they helped with a small oil spill. Temporary service was placed on King for the Habitat homes. They installed underground in Muirfield Phase 4. Greg Brook has been in meetings, and more meetings. He met with Tidal Health about backup generators, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Going to move over to Public Works and Wastewater Treatment Facility, and Councilman Alan Quillen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start with Public Works. Capped off water main to South Pine Street, leading down to the old power plant. Property cleanups for code departments, and replaced water service valves at 708 Wolford Street and also 2227 Bradford Street. Cleaned, organized in the tool room and stock room. Cleaned catch basins. Water service valve dig for a locate on an empty lot on Rush Street. Camera new service, our sewer line for acceptance on Nolan Boulevard. Repaired soda ash feeder tack at the Arbutus pump station. Replaced and repaired lighting at the industrial park where the water tower is. And attended multiple meetings and performed all routine tasks throughout the weeks. Moving over to wastewater treatment facility and the compost. Plant performance is good. On August the 11th, significant foam was in the blend tank and dewatering resolved the issue. Working on replacement of the roof fan on the BFP building. Reviewed original BFP specs and design and operations in preparation for changes to target higher cake solids in the future. The PAA trials are going well. Took a west secondary clarifier offline for inspection and placed the east clarifier online. Pumped and cleaned both sides of the contact tanks. And samples the BFP cake for TCLP and the landfill analysis. And I do want to say to Director Mears, thank you for making arrangements for our tour. I thanked Brian when he was here last time, but I just want to thank you for making those arrangements too, and thank you for what you do and your crew. You have a fantastic crew, and I really enjoyed meeting them and getting to know them. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman, and thank you, Director Mears. A couple quick shout outs before we conclude. Do want to give a shout out to the Downtown Seaford Association. You reminded me we had a wonderful dinner. I think it was Monday evening, and am I correct? Days are getting blurry on me, but had a great time. It's one of the highlights of the year for us to get together and a lot of good, strong energy behind the DSA right now. They got a lot of interesting concepts coming forward. This is their time of year, Halloween, the parades, Christmas parade. Very exciting to see what they do over the course of the next few months. I want to give shout outs to everyone this past weekend throughout the city who were putting on the backpack giveaway and student events. The city was incredibly busy. There were events at the Jay's Nest that Vice Mayor teed up. I know our police department were there. Love Inc. had an event. There was an event across from the middle school. There was just a lot of interesting things going on in the city of Seaford on Saturday. It's good to see so many in the community giving back to people, especially the youth in our area. And speaking of which, the youth in our area want to welcome back to school. This is back to school week. I really enjoyed back to school day. I don't know if they do, but I enjoy it. It'd be good to see you guys when you go back to school, and just know that we're very proud of you. Go Jays. And with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Councilman Quillen, so moved.
We have a motion from Councilman Alan Quillen. Is there a second?
Councilwoman Grassett, I second.
We have a second from Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. And we're adjourned.